Hello and welcome back to In the Wild Outdoors. I am co-host Bryn Hill of Hooper, Utah, here with Jesse Tatman, owner-operator of Saddlehorn Outfitters out of Daniel, Wyoming. And we are here to bring you insight, reviews, and information from the perspective of guides and outfitters to help you be more successful in your pursuit of Western big game. This is In the Wild Outdoors. Oh, brother, back again.
Back again.
Yeah. Looking forward to hunting season.
Yeah, it's coming quick for me.
Yeah, it
Bear
is.
season's coming around.
Yeah, and Saddlehorn Outfitters just continues to grow.
Growing and growing.
Yeah, you're selling hunts here right before we hit the record button. So.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yep, just got off the phone with Scott over there at Hunting Fool. He's starting to book 28.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we've had quite a bit of feedback on our on our series here on calibers and our favorite calibers and some of that we don't like, and I wanted to kind of go back to our bear defense. It's such a hot item right now.
Yeah.
We've got so many bear encounters happening, and I'm talking big bears here, grizzly bears in the west. We've got a population of bears outside the park that just continues to grow and flourish. And, more encounters with hunters, with backpackers, not just people who are out there chasing big game, but that's certainly in the fall. That seems to be when the majority of those things are happening. But you've had some bear encounters.
I've had a few, just the other day I sent you that article.
Yeah.
What is it? It's first couple weeks of February right now, and I was over in Livingston at a gun show with Gene. Mm-hmm. And we get this alert that there's a couple of people trapped by a bear in Pine Creek at the falls.
Yeah.
Some tourists from Bulgaria, I believe, and one from France, and they had to get the sheriff's department up there. I think I sent you the article thing. Yeah. So the bears are out.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Already,
Yep.
And I guess it was, I haven't got any details on it yet, and then I seen a post one of my cousins in Escalante put on Facebook last night that he had video of a young bear out already.
Yeah, black bear down there.
Black bear.
Yeah. I'm not sure that here in Utah that we've had any documented, grizzly encounters yet. But I hear, some guys say they've seen a few around, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time. These bears are flourishing, and we don't have a hunting season on them. They are the apex predator out there. And tell me about your bear encounters. The one that gets me is the one in Alaska when you had the gal up there. You were hunting, I think, for moose.
Yeah. No, we were hunting Sitka blacktail on Kodiak.
Oh.
And we were across from the village up on the side of a mountain in Kodiak, and she was hunting deer, I was hunting deer, but it was our first full day, and we went up and we'd come around. It was mid-afternoon, and I met her in a swale and told her I went around and pushed some brush for her, try to get there were some bucks that were held up in the brush. I said, well, I'll go around, I'll push through there, and when I get to that saddle, just come over and meet me.
Yeah.
So I got over there and I sat down on my pack and was eating a Kit Kat, and she come up and she was talking to me, and she said, we're talking, and she's like, hey, I hear something right there, and wind's kind of blowing, and I'm kind of deaf, and I stood up, and I'm like, where at? She's like, it's got to be a bear. I can hear it, breathing and growling, and I stood up and left. I had a 300 drum, and I left it on the ground, and I pulled my handgun. I was wearing a chest rig, one of those Guybeck chest rigs right under my binoculars, and I pulled it. I was shooting a Glock 20, 10 mm.
Yeah.
And it was actually the first time that I'd been in a bear encounter with a 10 mm before, and I kind of stepped up the hill about 5 yards away from her, and I said, where are you talking about? Because it got to drop about 20 yards. It dropped off into a big ravine and then up the other side. I said, on the other side? She said, no, right here. And just then, this big sow's head come into view, about a 9-foot sow. And I pulled up, and I yelled, hey! And the bear charged immediately. And when it charged, it was violent, and I shot the first round right to the left of the bear. And then it just pinned its face back and turned on about 3 speed. And I just started dumping rounds in it. I shot that bear, I don't know, in 2 or 3 seconds, 7 times. Yeah. And it turned and run over the hill. And when it finally stopped, it was about, I don't know, 3 yards from us. Yeah. And it was running past me to her. She was kind of just off my 6, I guess, about 5 o'clock. And and then out the corner of my eye, the cub charged, and it was just a small version of Mama, and I just swung the gun and shot, like right between me and the bear, and it took off after its mama. And of course, we got a hold of the troopers in Kodiak, told them what happened, and they told me, to bring the hide out, bring the head out. I'd been through it before, and I asked them if they wanted to come up, and they said no. It was Thanksgiving was the next day. They said, just be careful, and hauled back to the beach. All she wanted was off the mountain, so we went to the beach. The boat picked us up on the beach and went over. And
that was the end of her hunt.
No, she actually killed a pretty nice deer a couple days later down on an island.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any bears on that island, but there was deer on there anyway. But yeah, so that was a pretty. And then I went back in and
You still got that Glock 20. We've had that on.
Yeah, I've got the Glock 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was one, and then I was guiding a guy. His name's Lauren, I think. Don't remember his last name. He was a big farmer from up in Minnesota. He was hunting bears down in the Prince William Sound with me, and I was guiding. And we come out on a big open park, and Chris LeBar was with me, and pretty good sized brown bear was out there feeding on grass, and I got him down, got him over the bipod, and he shot the bear with a 375 H&H. At about 3 bounds, that bear was in the alders, and this was a little bit later in the spring, and the alders were getting green, and we went over there, walked up to it, and you could see the alder branches swinging inside there, and you could hear him in there panting. And Hunter asked me, he said, we going to go in there and get him? I said, no. Yeah. We ain't going in there to get him. And we kind of back out, and you could hear him chewing on the trees and everything moving. And he said, well, is he going to run off? And Chris looked at him with big eyes and said, if he was going to run off, he'd have run off. He's waiting for us in there, So we went back to camp, waited 13 hours, come back, and I actually brought this rifle back with me. I was carrying a 338 Ultra that day when he shot it, and I brought this rifle back with me, and I had Chris and Lauren kind of come up where the bear had went into the trees, into the brush, and I said, all right, I'm going to go downwind, where the bear can wind me,
Yep.
And so I went upwind and started down in there, and I was moving the alders, and I told those guys, don't be shooting in there unless, you hear me getting mauled or something, And I reached up and I just moved the alders, moved the alder brush out of the way, and I looked, and the bear was about 5 yards from me, and he dug a big old hole, and he was facing away from me, and he just as I moved the brush, he turned and come out of that hole and to charge, and I swung the rifle with one arm. I had held the other one and shot the bear point blank with this rifle right here.
Yeah.
Knocked him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one, and then
that was it for him.
Yeah, that one. I shot him twice, just adrenaline. I think I shot him the first time, then racked another one in it, and kind of put another one on him. He had 2 of them right next to each other. Yeah. Right top of his hump, right down through him. He didn't like the first one, and the second one just made sure he didn't want any more, Yep. And then, of course, the first one, my first year in Alaska, I was with up there hunting with the Stevensons, and my guide had to leave early, and so Ben come in, and we left the plane. And
Stevensons are pretty legendary Alaskan.
yeah, they're pretty tough guys. You know, Ben and I go way back, but we had left the plane way up the river, and we hiked down to a cabin that his dad had that they lived in when he was young. You know, his crib was still in there and all that stuff. But we walked on past it. A brown bear ripped the roof off of the cabin and whatever. So we went on past it, and we was going into a spot where, you know, they'd hunted a lot of moose over the years, and we three creeks, big creeks, come together, and the water's pretty violent there, you know. I hadn't been through a lot of huge creek crossings in Alaska by this time. This is my first year up there, but just with them, you know. And Ben cuts me a big long pole, and we get across there. Water's running over our hip boots. It's too high, you know. We didn't have chest waders on, just hip boots back then. And anyway, we get over there, and Ben tells me, get into this little opening, and he's like, all right, you watch everything forward and left. I'll watch everything to the right and behind us. And calling about 10 minutes, and he yells, brown bear. And and instead of turning to the right where he was on that side, I turned left. And I was carrying a 338 or a 3378 Weatherby, shooting 180 grain barns. And when I turned, Ben was on all fours running straight at me, and he'd been calling moose, and he'd left his lever gun kind of up by me. He was shooting a 450 Alaskan, and right behind him, him and the bear were in the, you know, together, and the bear was like full charge, just his hide and beady eyes, just shivering, just coming straight at us. And I pulled up, and with the scope turned down as low as it could be, you know, I couldn't shoot because I had Ben and the bear and the scope together. And then the bear, you know, Ben hit a dip, and just as he hit the dip, and I cut it loose. And bear rolls over and takes off, and Ben grabs his gun and shoots a couple more. Yeah, it was we had to go all the way back to the plane. It was pretty intense.
So I think, you know, one of the things that, you know, and your stories, you know, your experiences, other experiences that we hear about, you know, a lot of these that are happening, the speed and sort of just immediate chaos of the attack itself, is, you know, that's kind of a common thread in all these instances.
Well, you know, probably back to this, you know, you was in the camp. You had just left a couple of days before when that bear charged me on the horse, and I was seated.
Yeah.
And that grizzly in Idaho charged me.
Yeah, I think.
And you know, it happened so fast, and it's so unexpected.
Yeah, and so, you know, I think one of the things we try to do, you know, as hunters, and throughout, I'm guilty of this, and I know you're guilty of it. Of course, we like gear, we like guns, and, you know, I don't think there's ever going to be a day that I don't think, well, I want to buy another gun or something new and cool that's come out. But we can't really, you know, given these scenarios, it's hard to optimize, you know, or pick a certain piece of, you know, a single thing that works, that you know is going to work, you know. And so my question for you today is, and we've been, you know, staging this up, what is your go-to handgun and your go-to long gun for bear defense?
Yeah. Well, you know, I've tried a lot of different ones.
Yeah.
And I've had encounters with them all. And, you know, when I first started out hunting in grizzly country and stuff, I carried a 454 Casull, Super Red Hawk Alaskan.
Yeah.
And it was so violent to shoot, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I tried the 10mm, and then now I've kind of settled on, this is my favorite right here. This is a Colt Anaconda, 44 mag. This one has custom rosewood grips on it that Gene had built for me. I carry this gun religiously, and I have different 44s. I have a Smith & Wesson 69 that's a 5-shot. It's lighter, smaller to carry. One of my guides carries it a lot now. I have a custom-made, cut-down Super Red Hawk that Jim West had built me.
Yep.
That was It's called a Wolverine. It's about the same frame size as this one now. But the reason why I like the Colt is the trigger. Like they're just like butter.
Yeah.
And they're smooth. This is an old model. This one's like a 70s model Anaconda. The encounter that you and I was talking about on the horse, remember the gun went out of time on the fourth shot. When the bear bluff charged me, it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I shot the first shot off the horse, seated on the horse, right, between me and the bear, and then I didn't know at the time, but its cub was on the other side of the trail.
Yeah.
And she was just trying to defend that cub, and after the first shot, the horse goes backwards, and I'm trying to stay seated. And the next shot, I shot again in double action, and the horse really went sideways on that one. And then I clinched when I grabbed the saddle horn, and I touched another one, so it was like ba-boom. And then the gun jammed. It went out of time, and it wouldn't go again.
Yeah.
And by that time, the bear had, decided it had enough booms.
Yeah.
I didn't shoot the bear. I was,
Yeah.
I don't know, at the point with trying to keep control of that horse and everything at the same time, whether I could have made that shot happen or not. Probably the first one.
Yeah.
But I had to actually open the gun, sitting on the horse, and relock it.
I was going to say, I think one of the things that our viewers are going to notice right off the bat is, and we've been talking about bear encounters with semi-autos, is this is a wheel gun.
Yeah.
It's a revolver.
So, and the thing that I like about the wheel gun is just they're so reliable.
Yeah.
Like that one did fail on me. That was the only one. But then I went back and and Gene talked me. Gene was there. He couldn't believe it either. The new model. And, so I think they started making the new one in 19 or 21, somewhere in there, that went back to making an Anaconda. We sent it in. Jim West took it and sent it in. And he's actually got it down at his place. And I need to get it from him one of these days when I make it down there. But Colt fixed it, sent it back, said they had the problem figured out.
Yeah.
But, this gun's never failed me, and I've shot a lot of shells through that. But I think a lot, too, of that gun's problem was the heavy loads.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm shooting 300 grain solids out of it.
Yeah.
HSM bear loads. And I think that was part of what made it jam. Yeah. Should it have jammed or not jammed? I don't think it should have jammed, right?
Yeah.
But this gun I've never had any problem with, and it's an old school.
I would say, that would be my, my first advice to guys when they're asking me what to buy for bear defense, and if they're talking about, semi-autos in bear country, I tell them you've got to practice with your bear loads, with your hard cast, heavy bullets. A lot of times they're going to be, if it's in a 45, it's going to be a plus P. That spring in a 1911 is going to act differently.
I know that my 45s, I tried shooting plus Ps out of them, and I couldn't get them to cycle right, know. Like they would stovepipe, and that's the problem is, I have a Nighthawk 10 millimeter, I got Glock 10 millimeters, I got a couple of Kimbers, and I love them all. Most of them, except for the Nighthawk, have went in and had custom work done to them. Yeah. But I shot that bear 7 times in Alaska, and it didn't phase it at all.
Well, and I think, the fact that
I was shooting 220 grain bullets out of it, but I can tell you what I've learned with bear encounters, and probably a lot of the guys that have been through a lot of bear encounters, is you want it to go boom.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to have a suppressed one. You don't want to, like, if it sounds like a cap gun, it's probably not going to.
Yeah. Yeah, you want that report.
Like, you want it to go boom. Yeah. And you want it to be loud. And a 44 is loud.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
And, and as a concealed carry, I carry a 4-inch 357 all the time, Yeah. Smith & Wesson 7-shot. And I just like, if my life depends on it, I like the dependability of a wheel gun.
Hard to beat it, yeah. I think it says an awful lot that, you've had the bear encounters you've had, and you trust your life with this.
And I shoot it a lot, and so these, you want one that's got a good sight you can see at night, something right, like the old pythons. I looked at a python the other day, thought about buying it for, start carry it concealed, but it doesn't have anything you can, so I don't know. I think that the bright front sight, also makes for takes some stress away.
Yeah.
Because in Australia, there's enough stress in a stressful situation. I'll be honest with you, when these bears charge, you don't have time to be stressed. You don't have time to be anything. It's afterwards and you're not going to even notice the recoil.
Yeah.
Sure, some people say, well, the first shot's going to be there and your next, might be, because you're just so, you got to practice.
Yeah.
Practice,
Yeah. Yep.
And I like, just have a good front sight. And, of course, my dad, he was ex-Special Forces, Army Special Forces, and he taught me how to shoot. And, that old saying, front sight in a fight.
Yeah.
You're so close,
Yeah. Right.
You want the front sight to be.
Something to be said about a Colt. It's a high-quality gun. Everything they make is really good. And a Colt that's been shot a lot.
Yeah, this one has. I've shot this. I bought this gun used at a gun show in Billings. Gene was with me. Yeah. Once the other one jammed, and he kept telling me he needed to go with a Colt. I was carrying that Ruger, and the trigger was just so bad on it, We were hunting in Alaska, and I changed to this, and it made me a lot better shooter.
Yeah.
Handgun shooter, just going to this old school Colt.
44 mag penetrates.
Yeah, from nose to ass, probably with that 300 grain bullet, like I haven't had a penetration problem. Yeah. These are new loads, so this is the one that I like to carry. This is a 300 grain HSM bear load, right? Solid. There's a lot of different ones out there. This right here is that new Hornady DG-H, Dangerous Game handgun.
Yeah.
And it's got the big copper, and it's, got lead in it. I have not used it. It's kicking them out there pretty fast, right? Like it's got a lot of speed to it.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a great round. I have not shot a bear with it or anything per se, Yeah. I have shot some critters with this before,
We need to do some range testing.
I had a black bear stand up that was shot last year. Broke its front shoulders and it stood up on its hind feet when I walked up on it. Come straight at me, charging me on its back feet, and I shot it twice in center mass with that thing, flipped it backwards.
Yeah. So show me your long gun, your one long gun. Go to bet your life on.
So this guy here, this is
and this is hard for you.
Yeah, because I got a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I like the 348 Winchester, but if I had to pick one, this would be the one. And this gun, I don't know if the camera, if they can tell how much it's been carried, but it's been carried a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And this gun, this is a 2-power Leupold Scout scope on it that, I don't carry it that much with that on there. It's got quick detach rings on it. So this gun, I bought it. It's a Marlin. And it's got the big loop lever. They come like this. It's got the full rail on it. But this gun, I sent it into Jim West after I bought it. And he rechambered it. This gun is chambered in this is a 457 Wild West guns. So this is a 350 grain Swift A-frame, going about 2,300 feet a second. And then it will shoot 45-70s.
Yeah.
That's a 45-70. That's the round I like if I'm going to shoot a 45-70. That's a 405 grain solid.
Yeah.
And
and I'll tell you the reason I'm glad you you choose this is because of that. That's a 45-70 is another one of these calibers that just all these years later it just worked.
Right, and I have a 45-70. I have a few of them.
Yeah.
This gun has had a lot of work in it. It's shot a lot of rounds. It's shot a lot of critters, from moose and whatever. This one has a sight rail right here, so you can put a light on it.
Yeah.
Right. I use it with the ghost ring on it. It's got a good white bead, so you can really see it, especially if you got that light on. But I'll carry that light in my pack, and I'll put it on at night, all the time.
Yeah.
And it's the same one you carry on a pistol, right? It's just a pistol light, so it's not very big. This gun come out with laminated wood, and Jim had to put this wood on it because the laminated from the weather in Alaska started separating. so we put this on it. It didn't help the recoil any. This thing kicks like a
Yeah.
Missouri mule,
Yeah.
you know. It is ported. It's got 3 portholes on it. I don't know. I didn't shoot it before he ported it, but this one's ported. This one, of course, every lever gun in the world, I was taught, you know, half cock is safety.
Yep.
You know, Marlin put these push buttons on there. I had that overrode. It's got a set screw in it. I Loctited it, screwed that in there, and it can't go on because in my world, that'll get you bit. If you pull that thing out or you're walking, whatever, and that thing gets pushed on and you cock it thinking it's going to go off, you can shuffle the action, you can do whatever with that thing on, and it won't go boom.
Yeah.
It goes click.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's no time for any kind of
No.
gun or decision paralysis. It's
Like, yeah. So this gun's carried with one in the chamber a lot. Not when I'm seated on a horse, but you know, if I'm somewhere in the timber or we're calling elk or moose, you know, I have this gun.
Yeah.
And it's good because you know, it's got the big lever for your gloves.
Yep.
And it does kick, like I'm saying, like it you don't sighting this thing in, it'll about give you a nosebleed.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I choose this gun because of its versatility. Actually, you can shoot 410s out of it one at a time. You just have to drop them in there one at a time. So if you want some ptarmigan loads or, you know, whatever, shoot some birds with it. This action on this one's been smoothed up. Jim has really polished it, put the Grizzly extractor in it. This one has a little different tube. I'm gonna take it apart here and show you. So this gun was made for going in the back seat of my Super Cub.
Yeah.
Right. This is Jim's co-pilot. Right.
Yeah.
So it comes apart, and he makes these in Vegas and anyway. So it just comes apart. You can put it in your backpack or whatever, but you see this plunger in there. It's not the typical plunger that they have in them, and the reason why he's done that is it's supposed to be frost free, so that won't freeze.
Oh, wow.
Get water in it and
Yeah.
freeze that plunger so your gun won't go.
Yeah.
Because in the country that he lives in, and that I learned from them, you know.
Yep.
And that's the other thing. So this is brass, right? And this is that nickeled stuff, and this isn't supposed to freeze in the tube either.
Okay.
And it's thick. So it's all made around what works in that kind of country, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's why I choose that gun. And I've used it a lot. It's been carried a lot. Riley and I have carried it. One of us is usually carrying a long gun, and the other one's carrying that lever gun. And you know, of course, we both got handguns. But anytime we're in Alaska and stuff, that's kind of what's.
So I think, you know, the point here is that you've got loads that penetrate, cartridges that penetrate. You've got guns that allow quick follow-up shots. And I think another observation that we could probably make here is don't choose this based on recoil. Choose this based on what you can bet your life on and what works, because you're not going to feel recoil when a bear's coming at you.
No, you don't even notice this thing when you got problems, or heck, even shooting a moose. You know, I shot a moose with it and it, you know, dropped it. But if you got to have penetrating rounds, you know, like you're talking about. The Swift A-frame holds together really well. It's a very good bullet.
Oh, yeah.
And then the solid, of course, you know, you could probably shoot that thing into a stump, pull it out, about reload it back in there.
Yeah, you know, I have. I've shot hard casts into quakey trees and had them go through.
Yeah. So, you know, but these things this gun's been carried a lot. It's killed a lot of critters, and one of my guides carried it most of the year. This year I carried a 348 in Wyoming, you know, but if I was, you know, in Alaska, that's my go-to, and if he wasn't carrying it, I would have been.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole point is, you know, these are solutions that prevent you from getting killed, you know, and save your clients as well.
Yeah, and the one thing I do like about this gun over, say, you know, and I'm a big Winchester fan and Browning fan with the Model 71 and the 86s.
Yep.
But this action is so smooth after Jim polished it. It's just so smooth and it's so reliable.
Yeah.
And it's never failed me, no matter how bad the weather's got, you know. I mean, stood it in a snowbank next to a bear den when we're, you know, standing there. It's just, you know.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, we want you guys to be safe. One question that we have had numerous times here on our bear defense segments is how effective is a hunter going to be standing behind their, let's just say, their go-to elk rifle, or even, you know, I think one of those hunters wanted to talk about he had a 270, might have been a 280. You know, my advice to them is that that's a whole lot better than bear spray.
yeah, I'm not much of a fan of bear spray. You know, my permits in the national forest in Wyoming say I've got to have bear spray. My guides have to have bear spray. But if I have to pull something, I might have the 44 in one hand and the bear spray, or the rifle in one hand and the bear spray in the other. The problem I see with a lot of bear spray is you got to be careful on the holster that it carries. You know, we're going to talk about handgun holsters and my choices of those, but the holster for that bear spray, you know, the Kyvek ones, the solid ones, are better because they doesn't have a latch on, but if it's Velcroed in there, you don't have time to get it. Like, even if you're being mauled, you're not gonna, you know. So, you know, holsters, even with handguns, you want it to where you can get to it. Because I'm not fast enough quick draw to pull on a bear when they're charging. Like, if I have time to get it out, it's out.
You like a chest rig?
I've used chest rigs. I've used them a lot, and I do like them. Like, if I'm in Alaska and I'm, you know, not on a horse, I do love a chest rig. But on the side of the chest rig, I wear a cross draw. That's what I have on now. That's what I always wear seated, because I can get it out. This way I'm up against my draw length, right? But cross draw, and that's the same thing on a chest rig, right? So it's kind of the same draw scenario. So I kind of adapted to where I wear a cross draw versus, you know, and the chest rig. But the only reason I don't
For me,
like
that's the challenge of the chest rig, is I've carried here for so long.
Right.
Yep.
And, you know, you're seated in a truck, cross draw is the best, you know, because you're not trying to pull it this way, you know, if you got a problem. But the chest rig seated on a horse, you know, I ride a bear trap tree. You know what that is. A lot of our listeners probably don't know what that is, but it's got a big, tall fork, big, tall horn. And that, you got your binoculars here, you got your chest rig here, and, you know, and when you're in a mountain saddle, your bucking rolls are out over you, your swales, and, you know, you're in that saddle.
Oh, you're in it.
Right? And you don't want one that you got a bunch of room in. You and I don't.
No.
Right? Like, we get a custom saddle made. It's like our hat, right? It's made to fit your head. Right? So that thing is, you know, sitting here hitting my saddle horn all the time, right? And that's why my binoculars, I have to wear them clear up here higher, because I don't want my, you know, $3,000 binocular be hitting the saddle horn either. And if I get a horse that stumbles, right, goes off a cut bank or something, and I'm on it, you don't want that interrupting you being able to stay in the saddle either.
Right.
You know, it's a safety for me. You know, I had that horse go over backwards on me, and the Tetons rolled right over the top of me, right? And I was able to get away from the horse and lay flat on the ground as it come over. It's the only reason I walked out of it. Right? And it's because, you know, I had a cross draw on to where it was out of the way. My binoculars were in my saddlebags. Because I wasn't to where I was going yet, you know. So holsters, to me, I like a cross draw. I do like a chest rig in Alaska. I love them up there, and I use them a lot. And if you're a hiker and you're hiking, it's good because it holds it up out of your waist belt straps. Your top strap is above it, and it's right there to where it's accessible, right? But don't carry it on your backpack. You want that on you all the time, because, you know, whether you go to the restroom or, you know, you're sitting having lunch, or and a sow and a cub comes out, she's going to defend her young, and she's going to charge immediately. It may not be because she's wanting to eat you, but you're still just as mauled.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
So, you want to have that on you, or you know, you're quartering your animal is one of our scariest times. You know, and so I'm caping and quartering, and I've got the hunter watching over here, and I got the dog here with me, you know, and I got 2 or 3 mules tied around the outside of wherever I am if I have the mules, you know. And everybody's kind of standing by, and I've always got that thing on me though. So if I'm getting mauled, I have a chance of at least pulling that thing and giving it a few of them in the ribs to think about it before it kills me.
Yeah, right. Yep. Folks, bear defense is not about your ego. It's not about how big a gun you can buy. Bear defense is about preparation, familiarity, judgment, and confidence. And in those few seconds that you have to get a gun out of its holster and point it at the bear to save your life, what's really going to matter is that confidence. And this is a guy here that's had those encounters. His life has depended upon these choices that he's made many, many times. And I think you can see here that he chooses what works. And we want you guys to be safe. Send us your comments. Let us know what your pick is. What do you guys like? And we'll love to look at those. And please subscribe and like our channel. Tell your friends about it if you like it. We're produced here at beautiful Oasis Studios, Northern Utah, by Rich Casperson. And you can find out more about how you can hunt with Saddlehorn Outfitters at saddlehornoutfitters.com. If you like some good cowboy and hunting music while you're on your adventure, go to brenhill.com or look me up, Bren Hill Music, on any of your favorite streaming sites. We're going to come back here and talk about the other things that we know work, and hopefully give you an advantage on your next hunt, especially out here in the West. Thank you for joining us. This is In the Wild Outdoors with Bren and Jesse.
See ya.